Welcome to IGEL Disrupt 2024, taking place at the Diplomat Beach Resort in Miami. And today I have the pleasure of having Calvin Hsu with me from Citrix. Can you tell me a little bit about your role at Citrix?
Sure, yeah. I've been VP of Product Marketing for quite some time. Had a little stint there doing some product marketing and product management, but currently managing all the product marketing stuff, which now also includes the NetScaler product line as well, so we kind of brought those things together again.
Right, and me and David were talking about how long we've been seeing you at Citrix. I think back in the iForum days was the first time that we talked. What's, now that Synergy's not happening, maybe you can kind of give us up to date what's been going on at Citrix.
Sure, yeah. So the last couple years really have been very transformational for Citrix. Everything from technology and investment to our go-to-markets and our packaging and how we do all that sort of stuff. But for our customers and for our partners, I think the biggest news has been just the amount of investment that's gone into the engineering, the customer support, the consulting, all the things that are needed from a technological standpoint to really make these solutions work and come together in a customer environment. We've focused in particular on really sort of the core of EUC strengths that we've had over the decades, building out even more in terms of our protocol capabilities, updating a bunch of audio and video codecs, creating more resiliency in the environment, adapting to cloud, leveraging the latest cloud instances and cloud tooling, just across the board, just really hundreds and hundreds of features over the past year even. So after a little bit of a slow period, we weren't so sure what was happening with the company and the go private and everything. Everybody's just doubled down in terms of development and really focusing in on the product. And I guess our belief is, you do the technology part, you get that right, you make the investments there, then you can have a real conversation with customers about where this thing is headed and what you're doing. So having done a lot of that work, then now more recently, we've been trying to really simplify overall the whole process of doing business with Citrix. We had gotten to a point where we literally had, I would say, close to 10,000 SKUs for what nominally looks like two products, Citrix and NetScaler, and we got that down to about 6. So we're really kind of saying, hey, we have a technology portfolio here. We want all customers to be able to take advantage of it. We've actually kind of separated how pricing works from what the features are that you get. So don't worry. It's not like just because we put them all into these 6 SKUs that you got to pay for this huge, humongous package. It's really very much customized towards the customer needs and what they're using and what they're getting value out of. So other than that, not much has changed.
Yeah, so it sounds like there's been a lot of changes happening, and that's a good thing, right? Being that we're at the IGEL event, maybe you can talk a little bit about the partnership between IGEL and Citrix.
Yeah, I think, well, I was saying to someone, I was remembering, so we had that sort of quiet period for a while where we were doing all the transformation, and when we were kind of climbing out of that period of really not being able to say much and not really knowing much about where things were headed under the new ownership and new leadership, the very first event that we did was IGEL Disrupt in Munich. That was sort of our coming out party as the rebirthed Citrix with the renewed focus on our core. So I think, besides all the things that we're doing technically together, I think that speaks volumes about just the partnership that we've had over the years, and one of our longest standing partnerships. And I think we also, we know this pattern. We know that when we develop things, we create innovations that many times are going to need to leverage the endpoint capabilities. And if what we're doing isn't forecasted enough for a partner like IGEL, they can't take advantage of it, and then the customers are left out in the cold. And so, our presence here, they're very kind to have us in the keynote. I think that just is testimony to the understanding of that's how this works. That's how it actually becomes real in a customer environment, and so we have to partner very closely. Was very grateful to receive the Collaboration Partner of the Year award from IGEL, and that's just what it takes in order to make these innovations a reality in customer environments.
And we saw you at the keynote today, and I guess you guys are also going to be there tomorrow as well. Maybe you can tell our listeners a little bit about some of the announcements you made during the keynote.
Yeah, sure. So first we kind of recapped the recent announcement with Microsoft and what we were doing just in partnership with them, right? That is the longest standing partnership that Citrix has. I kind of likened it to, with all the things that have been happening, our transformation, our disruption, the other things that are happening to other companies in the industry, it's kind of nice to be able to put that out in the world and for people to see, hey, there's some sense of normalcy back again, right? There's some standardization, there's some stabilization around the relationship between Citrix and Microsoft, both on the go-to-market side and of course then on the technology side, and connecting our roadmaps together and making sure that as their preferred DaaS vendor in the enterprise space and they're our preferred cloud vendor in the enterprise space, that these things tied very closely together. So that was one. We also highlighted the launch of the Mac remoting capability. So now from an IGEL device, or really any device, you can remote into a Mac device and get that experience. And so that's been very much requested, in particular by organizations, any organization that has iOS developers, and they want to keep that intellectual property secured and accessed remotely. And then I think probably one of our spotlight announcements that we made in day one was the launch of our Citrix Enterprise browser for Linux, and more specifically for the IGEL platform as well, in partnership with them. So that brings a host of, I'd say, a zero trust framework, the security policies, the manageability capabilities, observability, things that we've built out in the Citrix platform over the past few decades, extends that out to natively accessed SaaS and web applications via this enterprise browser, which is a locally running Chromium-based browser, and like I said, now made available for Linux as well. So we're very excited about the enterprise browser overall. People are seeing that as a perfect complement to their virtualization environments, as they have both virtual Windows apps and desktops and SaaS and web-based applications, and they want one common set of policies, one gateway, one portal to go to, and so we're able to provide sort of that consolidation of that experience. So those were a couple of the big things on day one, and then for day two, more things in the shape of partnership with IGEL, in that part of that zero trust framework that I mentioned, we are building and working with IGEL on a Linux secure private access agent that would bring their devices into the whole observability fold and the zero trust framework. As well as we recently, I forgot about this, another big news from Citrix recently was the acquisition of a company called DaaS Limits, and their product is called Uber Agent, a extremely lightweight endpoint agent that provides a ton of data both about physical and virtual endpoints. So it's not restricted to just the Citrix environment. It can be really any sort of information, anything you can load this onto. They're a small outfit, but they have customers with in excess of 250,000 seats in a single deployment, well over 1.5 million seats under management already. And so we're really excited to bring that in, and not only bring it in, but then one of our first announcements in terms of technology advancement for it is creating a Linux and an IGEL extension for that. So, so that'll be great for all the monitoring and performance, security analytics that people want to run.
Now, we talked before that synergy is no longer, but I understand you have a roadshow. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we just launched Citrix Connect. That's our brand for this series of really, I almost call them like learning events. They're meant to be technical. We have our product managers are out there presenting every session. You'll get a vision statement. We actually have some of our consultants coming in and giving real experience from the field as well. They're going around the world. Right now we just did the one in New York. We have Chicago coming up next week. We're hitting Frankfurt, the UK, plans to get to Tokyo, Australia, India, Brazil. So yeah, so we're going all over the place. Really trying to bring the synergy experience and a lot of that learning capability and roadmap awareness to a town near you. So that's happening, and I would say also we're trying to build a global community as well through the new Citrix community site. And that actually incorporates both Citrix and NetScaler in there, so if you're part of the NetScaler community, that's been consolidated into one. And again, there it is, it's a community, yes, for the customers and the partners, but we're really driving our product managers, our engineers to be on there as well. So it's kind of a straight line into the product team and the organization, and really a lot of that interaction we're trying to build on.
Well, as always, it's a pleasure speaking with you, and we look forward to speaking with you again at one of these other shows in the near future.
Great. Sounds good. Thank you very much.